Now, joining me now is Doug Yones. He is the head of exchange traded products here at the New York Stock Exchange and all things ETFs. Doug, talk to me about the launch of these two new ETFs by Palmer Capital Management, and why is the NYSE the place for ETFs?
Yeah, I mean, look, Trinity, the words say it themselves. We are the home of ETFs. These new ETFs, they represent something really important. If you go back 232 years, we, the New York Stock Exchange, we started trading credit. Today, the very first ETFs ever by Palmer Square. They are the newest asset manager to enter the global ETF arena. Even though they've done a BDC before, they launched two ETFs today that are wrapping credit in an ETF. They're putting them on the equity market. This is what we do. We democratize access. We bring the greatest marketplace in the world to both asset managers, but also investors. They can come together, they can meet here at the New York Stock Exchange, and they can have a liquid market. And that's what it's all about.
But let's talk more about the NYSE's role in all of this. How does the NYSE help the ETF investors, as well as NYSE listed companies who are investing or working in the ETF space, make that as smooth as possible?
Yeah, it's a really great question. I mean, it starts way back in the beginning. Today we're excited because these two ETFs went live, but the work didn't start here. It starts a year, sometimes 2 years prior. We talk about the markets, how to bring an investment strategy and into an ETF wrapper. We'll help educate new asset managers. Over 40 new asset managers, they never had an ETF. They launched their first ETF this year through the help of the New York Stock Exchange. We're helping them all the way through all the different processes. But when it gets to the exchange, look, we're the E in ETF. We're the exchange traded out of the exchange traded fund. So we work on liquidity profiles. We work on the market makers. All the folks you're seeing behind you, the people that are putting up capital every day to make markets for ETFs, that's what we're focused on.
And right now we're getting images of the executive team signing the wall as they make their way down from the Bell podium onto the trading floor, where we are going to be speaking with them in just a few moments. But also, talk to me about your show. You talk all things ETFs. Why don't you tell our viewers about that?
Yeah, I mean, look, we love exchange-traded funds here. Why? All the reasons we've talked about in the past on different episodes. They tend to be a lower-cost investment vehicle. They provide a lot more access. I mean, everyone from institutions all the way down to my kids, teenagers, have the ability to invest in the equity markets at even a very, very small level. Like I said, all the way up to institutions. So they provide fair access, and they provide unbelievable investment strategies. You can find a lot. Let's say you wanted to learn more about ETFs. You can go to ETF Central, brought to you by the New York Stock Exchange, and you can do everything from go through an entire curriculum to learn about ETFs, or use that free screener. Every single ETF listed in the United States is in that website. All the data is there, provided to you by the New York Stock Exchange. All you have to know is either a ticker symbol, a strategy, an idea, something you're thinking about. Type it in there, and it's going to give you all the ETFs, because it comes down to education. As we've talked about time and time again, providing the most liquid markets, providing education, and providing access for all investors globally.
And speaking of investment opportunities in the ETF space, what would you say investors should know right now, and what should be at the forefront, when it comes to their investing strategy?
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone's investment strategy is going to be a little different. I think the most important thing to realize is the markets, they can be volatile, they can move up, they can move down. I mean, that's why we have NYSE TV. It comes down to one thing in my mind, that's education. So take the time following NYSE TV. We're going to bring you all the highlights. We're going to tell you everything going on in the markets. Go to ETFcentral.com. Let's say you're an advisor today and you're learning about ETFs. You can become a FINRA registered CETF. That's a certified ETF advisor. It's all available at ETFcentral.com, but you don't have to be an advisor. You just might be a student of the markets and you want to learn more about ETFs. Become a CETF. So it comes down to that, Trinity, education.
And last question, what do you think are the major storylines that can impact the ETF space?
Yeah, I mean, the major storylines really is all about the markets. So, right now, a lot of people are wondering what to do. Do they stay in cash? Cash has high interest rates. The Fed is potentially reducing interest rates. We've got the elections. We have geopolitical news globally that can be very volatile. At the end of the day, it comes down to set your investment strategy, educate. But what the nice thing with ETFs is we continue to bring investment strategies that usually, historically, would only be available for institutions. Like today, these credit strategies. Now they're available for everyone. ETFs democratize the markets.
Great. Thank you so much, Doug, for all of that important information.
Thanks for having me.